Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Rudy from Drinks and a Movie Podcast, and I've got an exciting new bottle here to review. I just had this sent to me from Nelson's Greenbrier Distillery over in Nashville, Tennessee. This is their brand new single barrel Tennessee whiskey. If you've been watching the show for a while, you know I'm a big fan of this distillery. If you want to learn more about the history behind Nelson's Greenbrier and Nelson Brothers, then definitely check out my previous episode I did with one of their kind of brand ambassadors, Becky Smith. That was from a couple years ago, but we tried a lineup of all their whiskeys, and she shared the full kind of history of the distillery. So I'm not going to get too deep into the historical aspect of it. I'm just going to break the seal on this and do kind of a little first impression review. I do plan on recording another podcast later with a friend. It's a movie that actually happens to take place partially in Tennessee, so we'll be pairing this with that film. Man, nice little cork pop there. Here we go. That sound just a little taster. So talking a little bit about this, and I have the other bottle here. I've got their Bottled and Bond that came out maybe about a year ago. I'll probably do a comparison with that as well. Right now, I've been warming up with their standard Tennessee whiskey. I've made a few videos about this, and I even have a couple more coming out. I have a video coming out about, like, I think, really good beginner whiskeys or bourbons. This is on that list. It's also on my list of favorite whiskeys to make old fashions out of. So those are two videos that will be out soon. But yeah, this one comes in a 90 proof. Again, Tennessee whiskey, meaning that they adhere to that Lincoln County process where they filter it through a sugar maple charcoal as part of their process to making it. I think that's what the new make before it goes into the barrel, if I remember correctly. So I was warming up on that. It's a wheated mash bill. I don't remember the mash bill, or if that's even disclosed. I seem to have forgotten, but it's a wheated whiskey. And this new one here, the single barrel. Let's see, we got barrel 1551. Lot number, that's a little tough for me to read, but this one's coming in at 113.5 proof. So I'm really excited to try this. I don't know how old it is. I'm assuming it's a little older than their kind of typical release. I think I remember being told in the episode that these are around 3.5-ish years old, maybe give or take, who knows, but somewhere in that 3-year zone. Don't be, tuned out by that. It is a very good product still. But here, like when I was comparing these earlier, it's probably hard to tell in this scenario, but as I hold it up to the light, this one is significantly darker. Like the normal one is a more like gold color, whereas the single barrel is a lot more amber. So there's definitely a darker hue. And I'd say it's probably more similar to the Bottled and Bond. Yeah, these colors are almost identical. The Bottled and Bond, of course, being 100 proof and being at least 4 years old. So I will say, we're looking at probably another minimum 4 based on just judging off the color for this guy. So I'm going to swirl this up a little bit. There we go. Here's my regular one. Yeah, very good. Today, it always kind of changes for me. Sometimes I get a good butterscotch note, like that's coming out right now. But earlier when I started sipping it, it came across more fruit forward, like almost a sour fruit candy kind of vibe. So it kind of depends on when I have it. It always has a kind of different tastes that are always interesting to me. I'm going to pour myself some of the Bottled and Bond too to do a little side by side once I hit this one. Just a little bit down. So I actually haven't had the Bottled and Bond in a while. Let me try this one out. A lot more kind of alcohol forward on the nose. The aromas don't jump out as much as this one did when I poured it for myself earlier. Maybe a little bit of a grassy note. Maybe I'll just go in. Just a darker, kind of richer flavor. Similar to this as I imagine it should be, but richer, a little bit darker, a little more on the spice side. Maybe that's just 100 proof. Now on the back end, like this smooth butterscotchy note, like a candy. Probably more like a caramel candy on the back end, very subtle. But yeah, the single barrel, I'm super stoked to have this. Thank you guys very much, Stephanie and the team, for sending this my way. I am extremely grateful. I saw, that you guys were releasing this, and I was just like, damn, I'm not going to be able to get my hands on it. I never really get to go out that way often. So in the summer, I might get to go again, though. So we'll see what happens. But thank you guys for sending it my way. So this one's very muted on the nose so far. Again, it's a fresh crack. I'm not really getting anything off of it yet. Yeah, it's really hard to decipher. It's still just kind of more of the alcohol notes coming out. So I'm really trying to, whip some air up into this thing. There we go. Just some kind of bright spices, maybe like like a nutmeg almost. I know that's typically more of a rye note, but a little bit of a nutmeg. A kind of, I get this sometimes, like this isn't quite right, but maybe a little bit of a grassy note, like a nutmeg, a little bit of a grass note. Like now, some of that kind of caramel, like that caramel candy, just a little bit. It's pretty subtle. Well, yeah. Anyway, first impression. Let's jump into this. Here we go, everybody. Cheers. Well, I don't want to say too much with it being the first sip. Let me let it kind of linger and finish. Here we go. I'm gonna go for sip number 2, then I'll chat about it a little bit. So I have to say, it's really tough for me to decipher the flavors off of this one. You can for sure tell it's the same DNA, which should be pretty obvious, but it is way darker, way richer, like a whole other level. Like it coats the whole entire mouth. It's the whole mouth feel and the viscosity and everything is a whole different experience. More oily, but it has kind of there's like a grit, like a gritty texture I get sometimes when I drink something like a William LaRue Weller. Now this isn't quite like that. I'm not, I just mean as far as like a texture, I get that on some of the more higher end kind of weeded bourbon products. So this reminds me of that. And I'd say it has a like, especially on the nose now. Yeah, like a dark. So I get like vanilla, but I get kind of like that leathery note. Like it comes across like an older whiskey to me. I don't get so much of that massive oak influence. If I'm gonna again say like a William LaRue Weller, I don't get so much of the oak influence, but I get that grit. I get some leather. Now the kind of vanilla caramel is coming out now that I'm getting acclimated to it. And the best word I have for it is just rich. It's just super rich and dark and again viscous and still has those similar kind of flavor components, more spice coming through, maybe a hint, I mean like a slight subtle hint of like a smoke characteristic to go with it. These are good, but this one I have to say is like operating on a whole other level. Again, same DNA, but it's on a whole other tier. I'd be curious to know like how old this barrel is, I don't know, maybe they want to share that with me privately. I'm assuming it's not going to be just out in the open, but I'd be curious if they'd want to share that with me. Because yeah, just in terms of the richness and like those kind of darker characteristics, it comes across a bit older in that way. I'm going to go back to the Bald and Bond, and I wasn't going to do this originally, but now I think at this point I'll probably go get the cask strength version of this. I have one of those as well. I think that's somewhere in the 120 proof zone, so maybe I'll see how that compares to this. And I will say, like, again, it's rich and more mouth coating, but the 113 proof, it doesn't come across like super hot compared to the other ones, especially considering even the fact that I just opened it. So it's still, hopefully, even by tonight, with a little bit of airtime, it'll like mellow out a little more. So I'd be curious. But the proof jump to the, what is it, 113.5? It's nice. It has just the right amount of like heat, but it's not too much. It's still like pretty easy going, which is really great. So let's go back to the Bottle and Bond real quick. It's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. That's just some nice, like, good whiskey right there. Like just kind of a quintessential sit on the porch at sunset, kind of hanging out with your buddies. Just like a really good pour. Nice kind of vanilla, almost like a coffee note coming out now. Wow, here we go. Back to the single barrel. Yeah, just take that Bottled and Bond, multiply it by like 4. Again, same deal. Like now I can really see the flavors as I'm getting acclimated to it. Pretty consistent, but with those darker tones and that kind of leather and now maybe a little more of that oak coming through. I'm going to grab the cask strength and let's see how that kind of compares to it. So here we go. Here is the Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee Whiskey cask strength. This one coming in at 121.4 proof. I haven't had this one in a while either. Very fruit forward with this one. And I remember that in the past too. Very fruit forward. Fruit candies. I dare say like a strawberry kind of note. Oh, there we go. Honestly, I'd say that's probably a little better than I remember. That fruit forwardness really carries through in the palate. It was like super consistent from nose to palate. Super easy going too. Like it doesn't have the same, It's got a lot of depth of flavor, but not the same kind of darkness and richness that the single barrel has. And very easy going for a 121, right? 121.4 proof, maybe. And I mean, I'm still at the shoulder, so I'm definitely in that sweet spot. It's not like it's too low, but it's possibly, I mean, so it hasn't oxidized that much, but that's possibly maybe the most easy sipping 120 plus proofer I've ever had. I'd say the finish, like kind of like a medium. You get some of the spice notes coming on the back end as it goes down. Let's get back to the single barrel. Maybe I'll pour a tiny bit more. I need to save some for my other podcast later. I don't want to drink through this too fast. I like to hold on to these. All right, back to the single barrel. Yeah, a whole different experience. That fruit forwardness coming through, but with like just some wood, leather, a hint of that smoke, dark, deep, rich depth of flavor. All of these are good. They're all hitting the spot right now, but man, this is like this one just firing off on all cylinders here. I hope they keep releasing these. Like, I don't know. I'm assuming the plan is maybe going to be like every year they do that. Are they going to get it into stores? I don't know any of that info. I'd love to hear about that. And I hope it's something they keep doing because this is really, really good. I'm assuming, I know they released this last week. I'm assuming it's probably all sold out already. But if you can find somebody that has some, make sure you try it. They probably have some at the bar at the distillery. So if you live in Nashville or around Nashville and you're able to like try a pour of this, then definitely go get it because it's a banger. I feel like I've been waiting ever since I got into Nelson's Greenbrier like several years ago. It feels like I've been waiting for this. Like when they did the Nelson Brothers single barrel, I was lucky enough to get a couple of those as well. Those were great. Now we have this, the Tennessee whiskey version. And it's great. I keep it coming. Like, just keep it coming, guys. No reason to stop now. This label, I think, is incredible as well. Like, this has always been one of my favorite whiskey labels. I just love, like, one, it's like the textured, it's textured. It's got some shine on it with the gold. And just like the historical element of it, where this is, kind of a reproduction of like the label they had back in the day, like the 1800s or something. Probably says in here 1860. Yeah. So I love that they kind of kept with this old school look. It's one of the best labels ever. And then now this step it up with this kind of inverted vibe where it's like the dark green on gold with the black it's such a beautiful looking bottle. Obviously we care so much about the taste and what's in the bottle. That's the most important, but you can't sleep on just like a really good looking aesthetic. So I'd say they like really knocked it out of the park with just knocked it out of the park, not park, with the whole entire package here. So yeah, this is great. Thank you guys again so much for sending this my way. Really appreciate it. It means the world to me. And hopefully someday, I don't know, hopefully someday there can be some kind of a collaboration. I'll just throw that out there, manifest it a little bit. But yeah, this is a hitter, everybody. If you can, like I said, go ahead and get one. Deep, dark, rich. You get a little bit of that leather, that oak, that dark spice, that caramel, a little bit of the fruit forwardness still all on the palate. It's a banger of a bottle. Yeah, that'll be a wrap on this one, everybody. I'm looking forward to sharing this with my friend as we record another episode later tonight, and to get his thoughts on it. But yeah, I'll end it right here. So thanks for watching. If you're new to the podcast, please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Find me on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your podcasts for more whiskey reviews, and along with that, movie reviews as well. So we're going to be talking about the Hellbenders by Sergio Corbucci and this bottle as well later tonight. So that episode will be out soon. And yeah, that's a wrap, everybody. Cheers.